Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first show in the new year of the Two Saints show this afternoon. With myself, Mark Carter, and my co-host, Mark H. Afternoon, Mark.
Afternoon. Well, flip me. What a turnaround. Well,
it's been quite a festive period and quite a start to the new year, hasn't it, for Saints fans and, Saints in general, really.
18 days ago. 18 days ago, people.
A long time.
We were looking down the barrel of a gun.
Yeah, we were certainly staring relegation squarely in the face, weren't we?
We just lost to West Ham at home.
Yep.
And, basically 18 days, 19 days it is now.
Absolutely.
Later, and we're up to 12th in the table.
Yeah, I think last time I looked, it was actually 11th, 6 points clear of the bottom three. So that's quite a turnaround, Mark, isn't it?
3 wins and a draw.
So anyway, getting into things today. Awful lot coming up today, pretty packed show today. So what we've got coming up for you in the first half of today's show is our review of Saints versus Aston Villa and Chelsea away, plus transfer news, gossip and news from Southampton Football Club. Yeah. So pretty packed. So that will take us up to our first break. But we're going to our first break now.
It's Mark C and Mark H. Mark my word, they're here with everything in the Two Saints show. Fiesta 95 FM.
Welcome back to this afternoon's show, everyone.
So this is the last week of the Saints' greatest team. We're looking for 2 centre backs from this list for me to choose from. It's the last week we're going to be doing it, so we'll announce who the 2 choice centre backs are on next week's show. So from the list we have, you got to pick 2: Dave Walker, John McGrath, Jim Steele, Mel Blythe, Malcolm Waldron, Chris Nicholl, Dave Watson, Mark Wright, Kevin Moore, Ken Moncow, Richard Hall, Dean Richards, Klaus Lindegvam, Michael Svensson, Jose Font, Toby Alderweireld and Virgil van Dijk.
Brilliant. So everyone, get involved in that, definitely. We need your input on that one, obviously. The ways you can contact us to do that are the WhatsApp number for the studio, which is 07493 819 688. That number again, 07493 819 688. The studio phone number, 02381980073. You can also email the studio, fiesta95studio@gmail.com. You can also hook up with the Two Saints show via our Facebook page and our Twitter page, Two Saints Show, and get involved in the poll that way. So obviously, please get involved. Make your vote known to myself or Mark via those pages, via those avenues that you can do that. And as Mark says, last week we were doing it. So get your votes in, and next week we'll be announcing the two winners of the poll. And that will be going towards the team we've already started to make. We've already got a left back, a right back, and a goalkeeper at the moment, Mark. So we're getting there slowly. Right, cracking on from there, everybody. Yeah. So cracking on from there, everyone. Our review now of Southampton versus Aston Villa, Mark. And you were obviously there, I wasn't, but obviously I got to see the highlights, saw the goals, saw how good we sort of performed, but obviously you were there. Do you want to give a bit of insight to everyone?
Well, basically we had, the way I would look at it was we probably had more intensity to our play, and really at the end of the day, it's got to be said as well, at the time I would have said it was 2 teams that were struggling down near the bottom of the table. I think when we went into it, we were 3rd from bottom.
Yep.
Right, and Aston Villa was 1 place
staring at the precipice, as they say.
So effectively we just changed places. Obviously the game finished 3-1.
Yep. 2 goals to Danny Ings, 21st and 51st minute.
Yeah, basically the first goal, it was a shot from Shane Long, I seem to remember, and Danny Ings it was an easy tap in for him. The goalkeeper makes a save basically from Shane Long's initial shot, and Danny Ings just dispatches the ball into the back of the net. Similarly, for the second goal, it was a corner from James Ward-Prowse.
Certainly was,
and it was a free header. I mean,
they put it down on the.
Nobody there.
They put it down on the. They're obviously beefing this out a little bit in the BBC Sport article that covered it, and they basically said a towering header into the bottom right corner. It was completely unmarked, and he barely left the ground. I wouldn't class it as towering.
I would
Good goal,
say
though.
it wasn't a towering header because, like you said, he looked like he was stupid as he was heading it.
It didn't look like he jumped much.
No, I mean the thing is like it was just unbelievable. I thought that he had a free header
absolutely.
inside the box. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not. It normally happens against Saints, doesn't it? Not for them.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then the pick of the bunch, and even after yesterday, it's still. I still think it's my favourite Danny Ings goal because the third goal, basically, there was nothing on, and he just basically turned and shot.
Yep.
It was complete opportunist goal.
Yeah, I mean the ball breaks things, doesn't it, in the box after a bit of loose control from the camber, and he just swivels on his left foot and just absolutely buries it in the top corner, doesn't he? Gives the goalkeeper no chance whatsoever. And I'm with you, Mark. I thought absolutely nothing on, goal out of nothing, and the finish was absolutely outstanding.
And then really the only blot on the copybook then was basically, you know, Aston Villa got a goal back, and
that man again, Jack Grealish.
You could sense that there was a little bit of nerves. Certainly from the supporters' point of view, there was a little bit of nerves because I remember there was a lady who went past us, and we were in the home end. And Lee turned around and said there, he goes, I wouldn't leave yet. You know, we have a habit of conceding late goals, right? To which she went and complained to a steward that he was talking to her. Which is one of the most bizarre things I think I've ever seen.
We're winning, please don't talk to me. That's crazy. I mean, the disappointing thing is as well, somebody like Jack Grealish, you know what he's capable of. You're going to be saying somebody, you're going to be giving instructions to somebody, don't give him space in the penalty area. Or don't give him space on the edge of the penalty area, because you know what he's going to do. And he did it again yesterday, didn't he? One of the teams he played against yesterday did it against.
I just, the thing with him is, unless you close him down, and to be honest with you, there was, you know, when he was, even though it was a good performance and it deserved 3 points, right?
Yeah, the only criticism would be you wanted them to close that down.
And we weren't closing them. Every time we got the ball, it was like artistic license. You go ahead, Jack. The stage is yours.
Yeah, I think we spoke about this, Mark, didn't we, before the show today? Last time we spoke about it, and we said that basically we were sort of backing off 10 yards every time we got the ball.
Yeah.
And that would be the only criticism of that performance, was the fact that, as you say, we weren't closing it down. And you're looking at Grealish and you're thinking that's the one guy you don't want to be giving the ball to in that position.
And that, like you said,
and if you don't close him down, he will punish you.
You seen it yesterday at Burnley, and the consequences of that was that they lost.
But it was almost an identical goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Same position, same outcome, same player.
Well, you've got to say crack and finish.
Oh, yeah.
If you're closing that down, it's not happening. You know?
That's right. But no, I mean, I thought all in all pretty good. I mean, Danny Ings, he's absolutely just on fire, isn't he? I mean, he's absolutely head and shoulders above anyone else. Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Articles from that?
Yep, Ralph Hasenhüttl saying that was an important and deserved win. Can't really argue with him on that one. It's certainly important, definitely deserved. Don't think we can really argue with that. Praise his side for their win.
It was definitely.
They're obviously out of the bottom three as a result of that after leapfrogging the opponents.
You've got to say that it was relevant from the point of view that, you know, you're out of the bottom three over Christmas.
Yeah.
So you're not coming into that equation where they're sitting there and they're saying, well, you know, if you're bottom at Christmas or you're in the bottom three at Christmas, you've got a good chance of going down.
Absolutely.
So that was a psychological lift even before
I think
got the Christmas day.
Some of us, I think, as well, and I think myself and you maybe a little bit, Mark, a little bit concerned that so far this season, up until this point, every time Saints have gone into a must-win game, they weren't able to perform, were they? And they weren't able to get the result.
No.
And this was one of those games where they went into it as a must-win game, really important game, and on this occasion they did get it right. The tactics were right, the players performed. It was a good performance, only marred by the fact they didn't close Grealish down, obviously. The only blot on the copybook really was the fact they conceded, wasn't it? Didn't get a clean sheet, but an all-round good performance.
Yeah, one of the things I do find interesting is, though, up until this point, was, you know, and I go along with it, don't get me wrong, right? When people say, oh, we played better away from home than we do at home, right?
Yep.
And there's no excuses for that now because there's nobody getting on anybody's back. But But having said all that, Mark, right? I mean, that was our first away win since beating Portsmouth in the League Cup.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
is, you know, I know
Absolutely.
it's 2 months and you're probably only, during that 2 months, we've probably only played 4 away games.
Well, I think the important thing was as well, I mean, Ralph Olsey said this as well, he basically said, he was asked where it ranked among other away wins during his tenure, and he actually basically said, we've had other important away wins like at Huddersfield last year, which was definitely an important one. We're now out of the relegation zone, looking forward to the Christmas games, it gives us a lift. And to be fair, I think it did give them a bit of a mental lift going into Christmas, because they were out of the bottom 3, so the pressure was off a little bit, wasn't it? The pressure was still on, but not massive pressure.
It's psychological.
Oh, 100%.
It's the barrier thing, and that's what I'm saying about it. You know, you don't really want to be in the bottom 3 over Christmas, because
absolutely.
then, you know, all the stats start coming out. You know, if you're not out of the bottom 3 at Christmas, there's a good chance that you're one of the teams that's going down. And all that sort of thing, you know.
Well, one of the other articles, and this is obviously quite relevant to the Aston Villa game, is the fact that he also said that Danny Ings is in fantastic form. And fair play to Danny Ings. I spoke to you about this sort of earlier in the year about the fact that he seemed to work really hard over the summer, and I was hoping that all that hard work would pay off, and he proved that he was worth the money. So it's nice to be right on that one, Mark, for a change. I was right about something, so it's nice to see that. But
many times in
fair play to him, because he did. It's nice to know. I mean, this is the point I was trying to make about it at the time was, if you've got a striker who's in form because he's fit, you know, great, that's what you need. And if Danny Ings stays fit, our season's fine, isn't it?
Yeah, we spoke about this in the way in the car.
But he is in great form at the moment, can't argue with that.
You would have worries about is if he does get an injury. You know, what's the B plan? You know, but having said that, we're making hay while the sun shines.
Well, he scored 2 in the Aston Villa game, and to be fair, he probably could have had a hat-trick against West Ham, couldn't he? He had one disallowed and hit the post twice, so that could have been a hat-trick. So it just proves the sort of form he's in. And I think the only player who's actually scored more goals than him this season in the Premier League is actually Jamie Vardy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Ballon d'Or for Danny Ings, is it?
I mean, it's a strange
I'm only joking.
Because I'm not against him getting a call up for England, but I would prefer that he didn't. Not because I don't want to see England do well and see the best players playing for them.
Absolutely.
You know, the informed players. But more the fact that when you go away, it all seems to be centred around what you're earning and blah, blah, blah. The thing is like we've seen with Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson got called up to the England squad earlier this season, right? Since he's gone back to Bournemouth, he hasn't done anything. You know?
Absolutely. Well, there we go, everyone. I think that's a really good review of Aston Villa Saints, Mark. I think that's quite a comprehensive one. So I think at that point we'll have our first break of today.
It's the Two Marks, C&H, on the Two Saints Show, Fiesta, 95 FM. And Mark H. Mark my word, they're here with everything in the Two Saints Show. Fiesta, 95 FM, the Two Saints Show. It's Mark C and Mark H. Mark my word, they're here with everything in the Two Saints Show.
Right, welcome back, everybody. So, in the back part we're running, Mark's obviously going to run you through who to vote on, how to vote.
So this is for the Saints' greatest team that we're compiling. Basically, from this list, we're looking for 2 centre backs. Okay, so here we go: Dave Walker, John McGrath, Jim Steele, Mel Blythe, Malcolm Waldron, Chris Nicholl, Dave Watson, Mark Wright, Ken Monkai, Richard Hall, Klaus Lindigvam, Michael Svensson, Dean Richards, Jose Font, Toby Alderweireld and Virgil van Dijk.
And the ways you can get involved with that poll, you can contact us via the WhatsApp number, which is 07493 819 688. That's 07493 819 688. You can also contact us via the studio phone number 023 81980073. 023 81980073. You can email us fiesta95studio@gmail.com. You can also contact us via our Facebook page, The Two Saints Show, and our Twitter page, The Two Saints Show. So obviously get involved and get your votes in, and hopefully we'll become like a really decent centre-back pair, Mark, next week.
Fingers crossed.
So, moving on. Chelsea v Saints, because obviously it was away.
Unfortunately, because of how they do things at Chelsea and where the coaches park, which
Yep.
is probably about 2 mile hike from the ground, I don't do Chelsea.
Yep.
Well, I didn't do it this year.
So,
Anyway.
kicking yourself a little bit then, Mark, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, probably. I think people are overdoing it though. If I'm honest,
Maybe a little bit. Let's not get too carried away.
I still think the performance in 2015
Yep.
was probably more significant because
Yeah, I mean, you could probably-
1-0 down and
Yeah.
obviously then went on to score 3
Well, I mean,
goals, but
you could probably argue, in fairness, that the Chelsea team we played, obviously, on this occasion wasn't as strong as the one we played previously.
But I am willing to concede. I am willing to concede, and you know how difficult this is for me.
Oh, hang on a minute.
Because it breaks
I
my
hope
heart.
everyone's listening carefully.
It breaks my heart because obviously I wasn't there. But I've got to say, it was the performance so far of the season, as far as Saints is concerned.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
To a man, everybody seemed to be in unison.
Yep.
Stuart Armstrong was the revelation for me, much as there was loads of hard work being put in by,
Yep.
JWP. And the team in general, I think it's saying in the way in, okay, he might not have scored, but Che Adams worked great.
Absolutely.
It made up for the fact that Danny Ings wasn't in the team because obviously Danny Ings, is that person that does give you the 100%, that does close people down.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think you could probably point out with Che Adams that the first goal, to be fair, he's actually created the space for Obafemi by taking the defenders away. He actually took 2 defenders with him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which opened up the space for Obafemi. I mean, take nothing away from Michael Obafemi. Absolutely superb strike off his left foot, wasn't it? Brilliant goal.
I mean, I have to say, individually, the strike was superb.
Yeah.
But you have to talk, in the same way that you were talking about, Che Adams makes the run that basically moves 2 defenders away. You've also got to talk about, and Stuart Armstrong for me was a revelation in the game.
He really was.
In the sense that it was basically 2 quality passes from him. Plays both of them in for the goals. So basically, the ball into Obafemi. He's still got a lot. Don't get me wrong. He's still got a lot of work to do, but the ball in was great.
Oh, very quality from Armstrong.
And obviously a well taken goal.
Yeah. Definite quality ball in from Stuart Armstrong.
But like I say, I think the thing is you can't underestimate Che Adams' work rate in terms of that game.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, everybody was on it. Everybody played well. I think, I said to you that those 2 games, Villa and the Chelsea game, Ryan Bertram played out of his skin in both games, and you do wonder why when you sort of say, well, playing on loan for Villa, John Terry's in the opposition dugout at Villa, and then you've got the thing with Chelsea, Frank Lampard, ex-teammate, now Chelsea manager.
Yeah, points prove maybe.
I always think he does tend to raise his game a little bit when he's playing Chelsea as well. But but
you could probably argue with Ryan, to be fair, Mark, that he does actually raise his game against better opposition, because he raised his game against Tottenham at the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah, no.
Yesterday.
Without a doubt, he's in a the thing is on this show we'll give praise where it's due, but the thing is he's in a purple patch of form for me at the minute.
Definitely.
And for me it hasn't gone unnoticed.
Yeah.
For me, I know there's other people that get the plaudits. I mean, Jack Stevens is in a good run of form, in the sense that, personally he can take a lot of satisfaction. Ben seems to benefit from having a definitely now a solid partner.
Yeah, I mean,
I still think there could be improvements made in the centre back situations. But
yeah, I mean, I don't think
you got to go with what you've got.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't think we should rest on our laurels and say, yeah, okay, Stevens and Bednarek are the answer, and we've now sorted out our central defensive issue, because I don't believe we have. We still need to look at that. But in fairness to both of them, they have looked a pretty solid pairing recently.
Yeah.
Obviously, get a 2-0 Chelsea, so that's a clean sheet. That's fantastic. First one of them we've had for quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, for me,
I can understand why it gives Jack Stevens the satisfaction that it does, and you get the clenched fist that, afterwards.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of that, I've got to be honest.
No.
He should just take satisfaction from his own performance.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he has he's came back into the fold, and while I'm not completely convinced that he's the answer to partner Bednarek, in the long term, he's proven people that he can do it.
Yeah.
It's like I said to you, I think the concentration levels have improved.
Definitely.
From where they were.
Yeah, definitely.
My only misgiving is that the ball distribution's still fairly poor. But I have to say as well, and I forgot to mention it, right? He did a Van Dijk-esque run against Aston Villa.
He did.
Which I have to mention,
He did.
he's I mean, I thought he was going to score.
You're thinking, no, Jack, no.
Go on, Jack, go on. But anyway.
Was there part of you, Mark, thinking, no, he's going to lose the ball, don't?
The thing is like, he can take a lot of satisfaction from it.
Yep.
And similarly with Stuart Armstrong, I mean, I'm not sure what the thing is there. I mean, whether it's Hasenhüttl sort of covering him, but personally I would have played him in all the games over the Christmas period.
Yeah, I think
game time's an important thing, especially if you got little niggling injuries.
I think a couple of players, obviously Ings, Femi Armstrong, I think those three, he's protected them a little bit over the festive period because of the number of fixtures, because all three of them have had their niggling little injuries, haven't they?
Yeah, so but I think explain this to me, right? So,
I mean, you want every player that's fit playing every game.
I know I'm jumping forward a little bit, right? But it's relevant to the conversation that we're having at the minute, okay? So, Buffel, right, couldn't play a game because of his toe.
Apparently.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right? All of a sudden, he plays against Crystal Palace, right? And then all of a sudden, they're turning around saying, oh, he's not even in the squad for New Year's Day.
Yeah,
because he's got a problem with his toe.
The thing is,
you're sitting there thinking, well, why are you playing him?
Well, yeah.
Why did you play him against Palace if it's a reoccurrence of the toe problem?
Well, yeah, there's that, but it's also right. Okay, so you brought him back into the fold. He's performing a lot better than he was previous to being brought back in under the umbrella and back in with the team. So being reintegrated with the team, he's playing a lot better now. Right on top of the January window, apparently his toe injury's flared up again. Yet again, he's out of the team. He's not played in a high-profile game against Tottenham, yet he played against Crystal Palace. You can't. There's lots of different things. You're sat there thinking, well, what's really going on with him? Is his toe injury really that bad? He stubbed it on a table. I mean, how badly did he stub his toe? It must have been one over a table. Was it made out of marble?
So anyway, have we got any reaction from the Chelsea?
I was just actually going to say, the other highlight for me of the Chelsea game was the second goal for me.
Yeah.
One of the best team goals I've seen from Saints for a very long time.
I think the thing is
same for Stuart Armstrong again, but
Saints fans are right to reminisce, right? Because it seemed like everybody touched the ball, so it was very similar to the goal that was scored against Liverpool.
Yeah.
In 82.
Yep.
I believe it was 82. Where basically everyone, proper team goal, everybody touches the ball.
Yep.
And I think, wasn't it Shannon that ended up scoring
absolutely. Yep.
So
I do believe the famous words were.
It was, and I always remember that as a kid.
Yep.
And obviously it was reminiscent of that,
absolutely. Yeah, I remember it vividly. I play it back to my boys quite often, even now, and always say, I always remember the immortal quote, the immortal words of that actual clip. You'll never see a better goal than that this season. Yeah. And that Chelsea one's probably right there with it. To be fair, that was as good a team goal as that. To be fair, everyone touched it. I think almost.
Yep.
Yeah, really good. And the final ball, little bit of luck obviously came off the Chelsea player a little bit, although Stuart Armstrong obviously got in the right position. It looked as though he initially put the ball in, and I thought that's a genius pass. Didn't realise till afterwards watching the highlights it actually came off the Chelsea player. But take nothing away from the finish. Absolutely brilliant finish. But yeah, there was some reaction to that. Ralph Hasenhüttl basically described it as the best performance of the season so far. Couldn't really argue with that. He agreed with you, Mark. I'm sure you and Ralph had a bit of a chat after the game. Sounds like it. So yeah, he said, when you can only defend against such an opponent, the pressure can get too much. That's happened very often in the past. Today it didn't. Stayed brave, tried to keep them away from our goal, and in the end it was by far the best performance this season. Had a few good away ones. This was the best. Can't argue with that.
It was immense, mate. It was a man's performance.
Absolutely.
It was so annoying for me that I wasn't there, though.
Right, and the thing is as well, the last meeting with Chelsea obviously was a 4-1 home defeat at the beginning of October. So it's quite a contrast, isn't it, between the two games?
Yeah.
Completely different.
And again, that was Nathan Redmond's first goal since the Portsmouth game.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that was that obviously from Ralph saying that it was the best performance of the season. It was really good. Nathan Redmond basically said it was a great team performance.
Yeah.
Held their performance as they came away from Chelsea with a 2-0 victory. Back-to-back wins, obviously. Michael Obafemi's first league goal of the campaign. Redmond ensured all 3 points. Obviously, he was put on quite a confident display himself. He ensured, obviously, 3 points, as you say, of his first goal.
He missed a few.
Yep.
He didn't... I mean, he had, before the actual goal...
Yep.
You know, he did have some opportunities there.
Yep.
But what amazed me was the fact that apart from early doors with a Williams shot, and then we had the Tammy Abrahams effort, which was halfway through the first half. Apart from those two, I can't remember Chelsea having a shot on goal.
That's actually the least number of shots that Chelsea have had on target since Frank Lampard took over. So that's quite a tribute to... And Nathan Redmond alluded to the fact that he said, over the festive period, it's always important to win games. We earned the right to play, didn't give up the fight for 90 minutes and took our chances. We always believed, but we had to fight. Lads at the back, Prowsey in midfield winning challenges, Stuart Armstrong, myself and Adams worked really hard. Michael Obafemi worked hard as well. So it was a great team performance that epitomised the squad effort as well. Everybody could see we worked really, really hard in the game. To go one up was always going to be hard to maintain the lead, but to get another one to close the game was good timing. Yeah, the one thing I would say about this, apart from the fact it was a good performance, is something Saints managed to do at Villa, and they've also managed to do against Chelsea now. Game management is something that's been missing, but they've rediscovered it, haven't they? They seem to have rediscovered their game management, and it's been a big improvement.
I don't know.
Credit where it's due.
I just think they've rediscovered about, football a lot of the times about energy. And energy levels.
Absolutely.
And I think, because it is an important period, because there's so many games come in such a short period of time. And the fact that we're close, I've seen it throughout the festive period where we're closing down. There's energy within the team. I don't know where it's coming from, because you would have thought that, at the West Ham game and previous games at home this season, we've looked lethargic, but all of a sudden everybody's got a spring in their step. Everybody's closing down en masse. We're doing the press when we can. But,
it's strange.
But I think it's all coming from Danny Ings, mate, because he leads from the front. He's the first person to close anybody down when they've got the football.
No,
and you have to do it high up the pitch.
100%.
There's no point trying to do it.
I agree with you.
Ball's halfway towards the back of you.
I'm not going to compare Danny Ings to previous players who've played for Saints. All I'm going to say is, it reminds you of when Letizia was on song for Saints and he was keeping us up single-handedly. The whole team were buoyed by the fact that Matt was in such good form. And I think with Danny Ings, the only reason I mention Matt is the fact that Danny Ings is in a good vein of form and the team seems to be buoyed by that. In the same way that when Letizia was on song, back when he was keeping us up on his own, the team were buoyed by that, weren't they? So when you have got a player in form, Mark, your point's a very good one. When you have got a player that's in that sort of form, it does buoy the team, doesn't it? It does make a difference to the rest of the team.
Danny's work rate, though, is second to none.
Phenomenal.
It goes to show, right, that, I think the stat was brought up that he's only the third Saints player since Matt Latiz and James Beattie, who was another tireless worker up front. Very, very similar. James, very underrated in that regard.
His socks off.
One of my personal, he was one of my personal favourite players. you know, and
Half of one of my favourite strike parents, to be fair.
when you look at the fact that 10 goals before
Yep.
Christmas by Matt Lattes,
Yep.
10 by James Beattie, 10 now by
Yep.
Danny Ings.
Also-
deservedly so, and he's in good company.
Another little one as well. The only other player to score more goals quicker than Danny Ings was Marion Pahars, and he scored a number of, I think he scored 25 or 26 in 44 appearances.
Yeah.
Danny Ings has scored a similar amount in 45. So the only player who's actually scored goals quicker than Danny Ings to get to the total he's at now
Marion.
is Marion Pahars. That's not a bad player to be compared to, is it?
That's very good work.
Yeah,
I'm
so,
glad to see that you're reading up on these things, love.
So I found that quite interesting that Marion's the only player who's actually got to that target quicker than Danny. So but it's not in bad company, is he? There, to be fair.
So anyway, are we going to move on to the Saints news and
Absolutely.
transfer? Let's do that.
We certainly are. So the first bit of news we have is relating to Yannick Vestergaard. We're led to believe that talks over a deal for the defender to rejoin Werder Bremen have actually fallen through. They've actually broken down.
So-
Were there any talks in the first place?
So
It's interesting as well because he's not been part of the squad, has he?
Exactly. Right. See, I'm a bit sceptical about this because it was being widely reported that they were in talks, right?
Yeah.
But then I look at Werder Bremen and I think to myself, to my mind, we've got to be paying Vestergaard 50 grand a week. Right?
Yeah, we're led to believe that's the minimum wage for Saints players, isn't it?
I look at the Bundesliga, right? And there's probably only 2 or 3 teams, even within the Bundesliga, that be paying that sort of money. So when I've heard they were in talks, I thought to myself, oh, it must be a loan deal.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm sceptical about whether this wasn't just dug up because Werder Bremen are in trouble, or in the bottom 3, I think it is, in the Bundesliga.
Yep.
Right? Obviously, Vestergaard came from there. He was in a rich vein of form before we plundered him from the Bundesliga.
Yep.
Is this not just journalists putting 2 and 2 together?
Well, you and I both know, as a lot of people do, Mark, that journalists do start up these stories now and then, don't they, to try and generate a break of interest, or the agents start up a story, or the players' representatives.
One of the worst things, and I keep saying this to people, is Sky Sports News was one of the ones that dug it up, and you're thinking to yourself, they're on the cold light of day. You would sit there and you would say, yeah, okay, so you can piece a story together.
Yeah.
But whether it has any substance or not, no, not for me.
No.
But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, so next piece of news relates to reports that Aston Villa, Burnley and Southampton are... Sorry, bear with me a second. Are all keen on Adrian Tamiz.
So he's
former Everton target.
This is the midfielder from
Nice.
the midfielder from Nice, yeah.
Yeah, so he's from Nice.
Patrick Vieira's team, yeah.
Yeah, so it's according to a report from the Telegraph. As we know, Jeremy Wilson from the Telegraph obviously knows an awful lot about Saints normally, so he's not normally far off on that. It doesn't mean this is necessarily accurate, but yeah, Nice's Adam Tamiz maybe possibly allowed out on loan. They're saying that Vieira might consider him going out on loan. 25 years old, so apparently Villa, Burnley and us all interested in him.
I think if it's a loan deal,
Yep.
for me, because obviously you can send it back if it's not working out. But the midfield, right? And I said this early doors, right? Because we had a period of time where, Højbjerg, JWP and Romeu were playing, right? I said to you, the only problem with that is any of those gets injured because he's playing all 3. There's nobody, because there's nobody from the under 23.
No, that's right.
And I had said to you, I said maybe we've made a mistake putting Lamine out.
Yeah, and just to flesh it out.
Thankfully now with the re-emergence, not the re-emergence, but obviously with Stuart Armstrong being in form, you play him. So
just to flesh it out a little bit for everyone. Obviously, Everton were initially in talks to sign this guy. They were looking for him to replace Idrissa Gueye, and obviously they chose Jean-Philippe Gibbermin instead. And obviously the Nice man stocks slowly dropped since, unfortunately. So he's a top quality midfielder and can certainly do a decent job to help people. It'd be interesting to see if they actually
it till the end of the season, because obviously, like I said to you, we're probably. For me, there's probably one or two many people out on that. I still kind of feel that, because you look at the squad.
Yeah, I mean, it says he's tidy in possession and is brilliant with his tackling and interceptions. So he probably could do a good job for Saints. Probably wouldn't be a bad signing. Wouldn't be against it.
But only on loan for me, Mark, not on a permanent. Because let's see where we are in the summer. Because I think, the bottom line is we have other priorities. You know, the full-back positions and the centre-half position are more important at the moment, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
So apart from that, also in the news, then we have Mr. Benali, and he was given an MBE.
He certainly was,
in the New Year's honours list for his tireless work at charity. It's nice to see Franny get the award. Well done, Franny. We're all very pleased for you here on the Two Saints show. You know, and the good thing about that as well is it's a little bit of recognition for the city.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I was one of the people that you wouldn't have, obviously, you might not have known Mark, but I was one of the people that was saying, he certainly deserves national recognition, whatever that may be. I'm one of the people that joined certain petitions, signed certain petitions, tried to start them up to get something for Francis put in place. So I'm really pleased it's happened. He definitely deserves it. Tireless community work, obviously, charity work over the years. Not just, obviously, with cancer research. He's done an awful lot of other stuff as well. He's obviously ambassador for the Saints Disabled Supporters Association. So he does an awful lot of work in the community. It's just really nice to see him get rewarded for that. And he's such a nice guy as well. Yeah. And that's really down to earth. It's fantastic. So great. Well done, Franny.
And it's a man that's connected with the city.
Absolutely.
So it's absolutely fantastic. Yep. The other bits of news on the Saints front was we have the next Saints fans forum coming up.
We do.
With Ralph, Toby Steele and Martin Simmons. And that is, I believe it's next Thursday.
So the date has been announced.
It's the 8th of January. And it's in the Gasworks bar.
Yeah, it'll be 5 p.m.
from 7 to 8.
Yeah, you've got until 5 p.m. on Friday, 3rd of January. There's only 100 spaces available, so basically you have to apply for tickets by filling in the form that is available on the website. I've actually done that myself. Filled that out last night.
I'm going to do it.
So I think your Mark's it as well. Hopefully, keep our fingers crossed we get some sort of joy with that, Mark, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll happen between 7 and 8 p.m. In the Gasworks Bar and Kitchen, as you said, which is obviously in the Kingsland stand.
And
if you want to get involved in that, people, get your form filled out.
And the other little bit of transfer news, just before we go to the news, is obviously Saints have come out and confirmed that Shay Adams won't be going anywhere in the January window, even though apparently there's a queue of championship clubs after him, which is good news.
Also news that Saints apparently could be about to offer £10 million for Mohamed Salisu, who's a central defender that we've been linked with.
Yeah, see, I read that article, right? The one thing I didn't understand about it, Mark, was, right, they're saying we're going to bid 10 million and nip ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
The guy's got a £12 million release clause anyway.
Yeah.
So why would you not be offering the £12 million and just that? Well, I mean,
absolutely.
Are we haggling over £2 million quid?
Yeah, exactly. Well, my job, it's simple as this: if you're going to pay for the players, pay the 12 million, pay as release clause, get him signed. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Right, everyone, so coming up in the second part of the show today, we're going to have our review of Saints versus Crystal Palace, where obviously Mark's going to run you back through our poll. And
also Tottenham at home.
Yeah, I was just getting to that, Mark. And obviously we've also got, game against Huddersfield coming up.
Yeah.
So obviously we're going to cover that as well. That's obviously the FA Cup.
And Saints team of the decade.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that again. We'll be back shortly.
Daily Echo Saints team of the decade.
It's Mark C and Mark H. Mark my word, they're here with everything in the Two Saints Show. It's the Two Marks, C and H, on the Two Saints Show, Fiesta 95 FM.
Right, welcome back.
To go back to Saints' greatest team, obviously players we're trying to compile.
Absolutely.
We've got the Saints centre half list in front of us, our short list. We need to pick 2 players from this list.
Please do.
So, The list is Dave Walker, John McGrath, Jim Steele, Mel Blythe, Malcolm Waldron, Chris Nichol, Dave Watson, Mark Wright, Kevin Moore, Ken Moncal, Richard Hall, Klaus Lindikvam, Michael Svensson, Dean Richard, Jose Font, Toby Alderweireld, and Virgil van Dijk.
And before anyone contacts me and says, Ruben Agbula's not on that list and he actually played a sweeper, let me point out a couple of things. I did actually speak to Ruben personally, who actually said to me, yes, I did play at left back for Saints, and based on the fact he played at left back for Saints, spent most of his career as a left back and actually played at sweeper, not centre half, that's the reason Ruben's not been included in the poll. So it's nothing personal against Ruben. It's not that we don't think Ruben was an adequate enough player, because he certainly was. But based on the fact he spent most of his career at left back and actually played at left back as Saints and as a sweeper, that's the reason he's not on the list. So we've done our research and we actually do know, because I spoke to Ruben personally, for anybody who wanted to
It's okay, Mark.
debate that.
Simon lives in the States and probably doesn't listen to the show.
Just wanted to
You're
clarify
right,
that one, just covering my bases there, Mark.
mate. Anyway,
Right, anyway, moving on from that. So we move on to Saints' home game against Crystal Palace.
yeah.
Must-win
Yeah.
game again, I think you could probably say, despite the euphoria of winning against Chelsea and beating Aston Villa.
Probably of the 4 games over the holidays, this was the one where we looked a little bit lacklustre
Yep.
for me.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
It could have been. It was more for me, and I know that we're going to talk about the barnstorming last 20 minutes and all this sort of stuff, but when you look at the game as a whole, I personally think we did well to come out with a point. Probably one of the things I would probably say is it showed the resolve of the team.
Yep.
Right, and
Yep.
I think some of the interviews afterwards, they were talking about, how they've managed to harness
Yep.
team spirit and
Yep.
stuff like that, and and that element of it probably showed through. But
Yep.
I've got a level with you, Mark. Right, I've got to say this. There's a couple of things I want to say on the game. The first thing would be the Crystal Palace goal that wasn't.
Yep.
That's onside for me all day. I
Yep.
don't care what
No, I agree with you.
are showing, right?
Yep.
That is if we're arguing over that, right?
Yep.
That if you're look, I come on this show, I'm a Saints fan, but the one thing you'll always get with me is honesty, right? I'm not a big Wilfred Sahar fan, right? I'm not a big Wilfred Sahar
neither am I.
fan. But the thing is
You mean Wilfred Winge? Aha.
but the thing you can't get away from
No,
it.
no.
Anybody who's worth their soul would
Yep.
hold up their hands
Yep,
and say
100%.
that was onside.
Yep.
I find it ironic that in the same period of games, right?
Yep.
Norwich were playing Chelsea.
Yep.
Right, you know where I'm going with this,
I do.
don't you?
I do.
So Tino Pukki's goal onside all day long,
Yep.
right?
But the thing is, they said they brought VAR in, right, for clear and obvious errors, okay? If you're level, you're onside. If you're level, you're onside. So unless we've fundamentally changed the offside rule, what are they doing? It's supposed to be for clear and obvious errors, not let's get a ruler out, let's get a pen out, let's draw some dots and do dot to dot on it. It's supposed to be clear and obvious errors. Why are they doing it now as if they're trying to solve a murder? Stop being so whatever about it. Stop going over the top of it. If you're onside, if you're level, you're onside. It's as simple as that.
I mean,
both those goals for me are goals. Simple as that.
You would have gave both of those.
I would have given both those as a goal.
And I
100%.
would have.
100%. And it's interesting actually. It's interesting actually because I actually did a little bit of digging on this and I actually found out there's a little table the BBC put up of who's benefited the most from VAR this season so far. Okay, top of the table, surprisingly, Southampton. 6 VAR decisions in our favour, 1 against, a difference of 5. So that's 5 decisions that have gone our way this season. Now you could argue the Crystal Palace one was definitely one of those. So if you take that out of the equation, take VAR out of the equation, Mark, Saints would actually still be deep in trouble if you take VAR out of the equation. But for me, as you say, the Norwich goal, it's onside. Zaha's goal's onside.
Yeah, no, that's fine, and I brought it up, but I don't want to dwell on VAR too much. So,
but it's interesting that Saints have benefited more than anybody else.
Going back to the performance of the Palace game, so I have to say as well for me, right, much as I love the attitude of Sofian since he's came back.
Yep.
You know, and he lifted the game against Watford.
Yeah.
When we won 2-1.
Yeah.
He came on as a sub. He started, obviously, against Palace. Given his performance from the start, I wouldn't have started him. The thing is, Mark, right?
The thing is, we've said this, haven't we, about Sofian?
This is the thing is, right? Sofian's great when he's facing up the opponents, right? He's taking them on, okay? He has a problem when he's when he starts, right? And he's in possession of the football, he thinks no one else is around him, he dwells on it.
Yeah.
He got caught.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Times during the game.
Absolutely.
Right? And he isn't that quick. What he's good at is because he's got a trick in the bag, as I call it, he makes space for himself.
Absolutely.
Right? So if he's doing wing play or he's trying to create something, fair enough, right? But the thing is because you know, he doesn't actually move that quick when he's on the ball.
Yeah.
So you had situations where he might be picking it up in the middle of the park and he's going forward.
That's right.
But because he's considering his options while he's doing it.
The thing is, Mark, it's interesting as well because we've actually said Sofian Boufal is a far better player when he comes on as a sub as opposed to when he starts. Now, what I find interesting is, as you've said, when he starts games and the pressure's not on for him to make an impact, he's not doing it. When he's coming on as a sub and he has to make an impact, he's making an impact.
Yeah, it is.
And Stuart Armstrong's another one, isn't he? He's interesting. Stuart Armstrong starts games, plays really well.
Yeah.
When he comes on as a sub and has to make an impact, he can't get into the game. So it's interesting with both of them, isn't it? They're both kind of chalk and cheese. Sofian's not great at starting games. Stuart's far better when he does. So it's interesting with those two.
You can look at the name's called Musa.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Musa, right?
Yeah, we'll come to him in a minute as well.
Anyway, the thing is right, Musa's another one, right, for me. But the thing is, like, when he made that impact, right, he had to start against Spurs, right? And the thing is at times, you know, in that game, obviously, you know, I actually think that if you can start him, it's about trying to accommodate people at the end of the day, and whether he wants to start with two out-and-out strikers or he starts with one out-and-out striker and one, what I would say, creative winger. Yeah, but it's it is an interesting one, and as I say, you know, Musa suffers from the same thing but Stuart Armstrong starts every game for me, and Boufal comes on as a sub. You know, I wouldn't start him from the off. You know, I don't know. It just seems to be that he's able to lift his game for a short period of time, and if that's what we need when we're losing or the game's 0-0.
Well, I mean, Mark,
I've
looked at games recently. And to be fair, Boufal and Gineppo, for me, what a couple of weapons to bring off the bench. Fantastic. You know, towards the end of the game, 20 minutes ago, half hour ago, what a couple of weapons to have. I would actually be tempted to keep them on the bench as a couple of weapons to use if we need to, because I think we've got enough about us at the moment. We've proved in the last few games, we've got enough about us at the moment to grind out results without those two necessary starting games. But we certainly do need them to make an impact, don't we?
I don't know. I'm an advocate, I think, of Gineppo actually starting for me, because I do think.
I mean, for me, the only concern was starting Gineppo.
There was times yesterday, right, when it looked like he was doing too much, but it was the only option that he had because he was the furthest. Player forward.
What I will say about Gineppo is, for me, Gineppo, last 20 minutes against Crystal Palace, Gineppo was just outrageous. The guy was phenomenal. I mean, he looked outstanding. The last 20 minutes, he was causing nothing. He was causing havoc every time he got the ball. He just went at them, and he caused absolute havoc for 20 minutes. He really did. He just run amok for 20 minutes. Yeah. How on earth we didn't get a result of him on the pitch for the last 20 minutes? I don't know. Moussa Gineppo, for me, never mind what Hasenhuttl said about the team were outrageous. No, Moussa Gineppo was outrageous. He really was. I mean, stuff he was doing, phenomenal. You know, we got an equaliser, which we deserved. But for me, Gineppo, what an impact when he came on. The worry for me is...
We only deserve
the worry for me is...
the 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I have to say...
Yeah, I agree.
Right, I have to say... It was Danny Ings' awareness again.
Yeah, absolutely. The worry for me with Gineppo is he has had these niggly little injuries, and I think for me personally, the reason you don't start Gineppo in games is this little niggling injury he's had ongoing since he joined us. I think what you need to do is play him as an impact player for now, start working on his fitness, keep working on his fitness until he's able to get through games, and then when he's able to get through games, by all means start him. I think the issue at the moment is, I think the reason he's not playing 90 minutes at the moment, or he's not starting games, is these little niggling hamstring injuries he's had, because it hasn't been 1 or 2, has it? He's had 3 or 4 already. The worry is you don't want to be overloading him because you don't want him to break down. He's certainly a key player. We do need him, but I think they're trying to nurse him at the moment, and I think that's the reason he's not starting games. And it would make sense. I mean, we've done a similar thing with Ings. Certain games Ralph's not played him in. You want all your players that are in form to be playing every game, of course you do. But you've also got to be aware, there is a lot of fixtures at the moment. That's not an excuse. There's a lot of fixtures at the moment. We do have certain players that are quite fragile, I think you could probably argue. Danny Ings is probably one of them as well.
Right, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Mark. Come on, have some of the reaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, we need to get off the soapbox for a moment.
So, obviously, Ralph Hasenhuttl said he was not unhappy with a point. Well, of course he wasn't unhappy with a point because he didn't lose. It's pretty obvious, Ralph. He said, obviously, they were outrageous in the last 20 minutes. Yep, understand that.
Which was a direct quote from you, remember, after the game?
That is exactly what Ralph said, actually. I actually said Moussa Gineppo was outrageous because I thought he was. The team themselves, they played very well for the last 20 minutes, but Gineppo was the standout, obviously. Ryan Bertrand felt it was another point gained, as far as he was concerned. He felt that the team spirit was really good. The only blemish for me is the fact that, yet again, Saints were a little bit lacking when it came to marking Tompkins, weren't they? Free header from the corner, really.
Yeah.
So, another one of those goals we gave away that could have probably been avoided, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, their form's been pretty good. The away form's been good. Home form, not so much. But he's saying, basically, their focus, there's a belief back in the team. I mean, it can't be a coincidence. The manager seems to have got his belief back, and seems to have got his mojo back, and so have the players. Can't be a coincidence, can it? But I think Ralph's admitted himself that he's been a little bit lost for a little while. So it's nice to see him to be back to sort of where he is, to be fair. But
it's never in doubt for me, Mark. No, as I say, I'm the Ralph champion here. Yeah. But as I say, for me earlier in the season, the players weren't giving it their all.
Absolutely. Well, and obviously, there's always good.
Now we've got players giving it all.
Absolutely.
But I think there has been subtle changes.
Yeah.
I think that, at the end of the day, people are more comfortable playing with their player. I think the thing you want to point out, which has been very instrumental in the whole thing, is Jack Stevens has been allowed to play on his more favoured side, which is his right side.
Absolutely.
With Bednarek making the accommodation, because obviously he likes playing on the right side.
To be fair,
he's gone to the left side of
the one thing I think you could say is, at the moment, the one thing we've got with those two that we've not had all season really at centre half is we've actually got balance. The back four actually looks quite balanced, and it is working. But to be fair to Ralph, he actually said
it's because Bednarek has made that sacrifice of going over to the left hand side of the.
And I think the point is, I think it might have been Anna Shearer or somebody made the point a while ago that good players can always adapt. A good player can always adapt to situations, and a good player should be able to play almost anywhere, as long as you know the role. Now, obviously, Bednarek knows the centre-half role, same as Jack Stevens, so it's good that he's able to make that sacrifice. He's moved over that side, but it seems to give them balance, doesn't it? It's working. So and they look at the St. Parent. It's not the end of. It's not the obviously answer, but it's working for now. Ralph's gone back to basics, and whatever he's doing, it's working. So well done, Ralph. But so all in all, I would say pretty good. It's certainly been a really good festive period, hasn't it? And we're not to the end of all our coverage of all the games so. But so at this time we're going to take a little break.
It's Mark C and Mark H. Mark my word, they're here with everything in the Two Saints Show. It's the Two Marks, C&H, on the Two Saint Show, Fiesta 95 FM.
Right, welcome back, everyone. So, Mark, our review of Saints versus Spurs, but we're going to go to that after the centre back poll, which Mark's going to run you back through again now.
Right, so this is the last time I'm doing it, people. So anyway, this is for Saints' greatest team, the poll that we're running, and we're looking for 2 centre backs from this list of players. So the short list that we've drawn up is Dave Walker, John McGrath, Jim Steele, Mel Blythe, Malcolm Waldron, Chris Nicholl, Dave Watson, Mark Wright, Kevin Moore, Ken Moncal, Richard Hall, Dean Richards, Klaus Lindegvam, Michael Svensson, Jose Font, Toby Alderweireld, Virgil van Dijk.
Well done, Mark. Let's run us all through that. And the ways you can contact us on that one are the WhatsApp number, which is 07493 819 688. That number again, 07493 819 688. Studio phone number 02381 980073. That's 02381 980073. Email us at fiesta95studio@gmail.com. But you can also look us up on Facebook, The Two Saints Show, and Twitter, The Two Saints Show, and you can get involved in the poll that way. So vote for your 2 centre halves. We'll have a winner next week. Right, Mark. Saints v Spurs. So obviously another quite important game. We're looking at this one thinking, it'd be good if we can get something from it. Not 100% if we can get the 3 points or not. Be good if we can. Quite fancying our chances, but we weren't sure, were we? No. And lo and behold, wow, where did we start?
Well, obviously it was Saints 1, Spurs 0. Basically, I felt that the level of performance returned again in the sense of the closing down.
Yep.
People getting their tackles in, people making sure that they were even just a barrier. The game, more or less, for me, it was, you've got to talk about the goal and what a goal to win the game. They kind of flick over, Toby Alderweireld's head.
Left him on his knees.
The volley in the back of that.
Let's point out, he left Toby Alderweireld for dead. Left him on his knees, and Paulo Gazzaniga didn't even move.
It was
brilliant.
It was worthy of a winner, and so it proved, But again, it was a glowing one for everyone in the team. Been a little bit critical of Højbjerg at times because I've always said that he doesn't, forward, but he made 2 forward runs yesterday, that actually relieved a lot of pressure because I did feel certainly the last 12 minutes we were hemmed in quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And we were struggling to sort of break out of it.
Yeah, we sort of struggled to clear the lines, didn't we?
Obviously, when Højbjerg, picked up the ball, and there was once or twice when he went on long surging runs, and it's something for me that I haven't seen enough of him doing this season.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing is to be fair to Pierre, to be fair to him, right? I think he's in there as a bit of a spoiler, breaking up the play.
Yeah.
So he's doing the work that a lot of the time gets unseen.
Yeah.
And you're probably sitting there thinking, he's not on it, blah, blah, blah.
No,
but yesterday, he did show for me that, especially when we were hemmed in, there was times when he actually broke the ball.
Yep.
The only problem, and again, that you have sometimes is when people are breaking at pace, and we see it a lot with Nathan Redmond, there's nobody up there. You might have one person, which is normally Danny Ings, but because Danny Ings is such an all-round player for me,
absolutely.
A lot of the time he can be doing his defensive duties, so he's further back than the person that's
absolutely
the ball.
Absolutely.
And this is what I was saying. Why, Musa would probably start for me at the minute, because there was times yesterday when he had the ball and he was breaking with the ball, there wasn't people up there, so he was. Even though people were sitting there, and you might have been thinking on first reflection, you're thinking he's being too greedy, right? He's trying to do too much, right? But the simple fact of the matter is, there wasn't another Saints player up for play with.
No, there wasn't.
So what was he meant to do?
Exactly, absolutely.
He had to look like it was a one-man band, you know, sometimes. But that was fine in the context of the game. That was fine. There was other instances where other players were having to do similar kinds of things.
Absolutely. But I mean, for me yesterday, there was a few things.
It was a team performance.
A few things in the game. I mean, there were a couple of incidents yesterday where Tottenham looked like they're going to break on us.
Yeah.
I mean, Højbjerg's timing was bang on. Absolutely in the right place at the right time. Broke the play up brilliantly. One of his best performances for me of the season yesterday.
Yeah.
And for me, James Ward-Prowse yesterday was immense. I mean, for me, what epitomised it for me with James Ward-Prowse's first half, I think it was, 50-50 with Sissoko. And James Ward-Prowse turned it into an 80-20. He absolutely... And Sissoko went off not long after that. He looked like he'd hit a brick wall. I mean, fair play to Ward-Prowse. One of the strongest challenges I've seen this season. And I thought, do you know what? That epitomised his performance yesterday. For me, he's had a lot of stick. Ward-Prowse yesterday was outstanding. So was Danny Ings, to be fair. And Højbjerg had a really good game too.
To me, it was a good team performance across.
But what I did love as well...
Across the back. I mean, even Alex McCarthy, right?
I was going to say, what I really loved yesterday was...
Ball, right? And he got down and he made a legitimate save to the feet of Dele Alli. Dele Alli was playing the pantomime villain a little bit yesterday, right? But I've got to give him his due. When he got up, he shook Alex McCarthy's hand, you know. And then let's even up the VAR thing, right? Much as, you know, I've said about Sahar, the goal would have stood for me against Crystal Palace, right? The Harry Kane one, right? I don't know what it was like for you people that weren't in the stadium, right? But it felt like an absolute eternity for me for them to make the decision, right? And I've seen it now, and I'm sitting there thinking, why did it take so long? That was clearly off.
The thing is, Mark, what annoyed me about this was, right? Now, this was Mike Dean refereeing, okay? Now, we know Mike Dean's history with regards to Tottenham Hotspur, blah, blah, blah. So, Mike Dean's refereeing. Clear handball from Toby Alderweireld in the penalty area. Unnatural arm position. So, by the letter of the law, that's a penalty. Doesn't get given by Mike Dean. Completely ignored by VAR. Down the other end, Harry Kane's offside goal. They decide to refer it to VAR. Now, you explain to me why that was referred to VAR, which was quite clearly offside, so it wasn't a clear and obvious error. Yet a penalty that should have been given at the other end that was blatantly a penalty, which was a clear and obvious error, wasn't even looked at.
Right.
Inconsistency.
Are we not talking about the VAR for the penalty was looked at after the fans had called for it, but
after they called for it.
But to be fair, right, the decision was upheld. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm going to be fair to Mike Dean, right?
That's a penalty by letter of the law.
Look, listen, I'm not. To be honest with you, I'm not interested in your side swipes, okay?
It's not a side swipe.
It is. It's
no, not at all. Right? It's not a side swipe. The bottom line is...
The bottom line for me about yesterday was he was in the right place to make that call, okay?
Right.
He said no penalty. It was referred to VAR, okay, admittedly sometime later. It was no penalty.
It's wrong. Right.
But let's get back to the point that I was making, right? Because I don't want to get bogged down in any sort of...
My point about it, Mark, is... My point about it is... Be consistent with it. My point was VAR was not consistently used yesterday. They got it wrong. It wasn't consistent. Okay? That, by the letter of the law, that the Premier League officials lay down, by the letter of the law, that is a penalty. He's got his arm in an unnatural position... And by the letter of the law, which they brought in at the start of the season, if you remember, they gave us guidelines on penalties at the start of the season. That, by the letter of the law that the Premier League brought in at the start of the season, is a handball, and that is a penalty. By their own rules. By their own rules.
Let's move on.
Anyway, moving on.
Because you hijacked what I was talking about.
Not at all.
Further. You did.
Okay.
Right? Because what I wanted to know, and you still didn't answer for me.
I certainly will.
Why did it take so long? Because it certainly felt like in the stadium... Why did it take so long for VAR to rule out Harry Kane's goal yesterday?
I think the biggest issue for me...
It's about 5 minutes.
It takes them far too long. The reason it takes them far too long is referees are not going to the side of the pitch and using a monitor pitch side to look at it. You could solve that problem within. You could have that. See, if you watch VAR being used in the States or some of the other places where they're using it, and there's been a few examples of that recently. Hear me out, and we're just right. Let me finish because I'm trying to explain.
You're not.
Right, I'm trying to explain.
I don't want to hear rhetoric.
Right, you've asked me for an explanation. Right, you've asked me for an explanation. You've asked me for an explanation.
What about VAR?
Right.
What I want to know is how come it took so long for the decision.
You're asking me to explain why it took so long. I'm trying to explain to you why it took so long. All I'm saying is, if you watch the way they review VAR in different countries, it doesn't take anywhere near as long to review the decision as it does in the UK in the Premier League. Most of the other leagues that are using the VAR, they're going to a pitch-side monitor, they're seeing it straight away, the decision's made within a couple of minutes. It doesn't take 5 minutes, it doesn't take 3 minutes, it's done within a minute.
No, to be fair, you've already
fundamental
made that
difference.
point, and that's a valid point.
That's why it's taking so long.
You made that point.
That's why it's taking so long.
What I'm saying to you is that still doesn't explain why it took VAR so long to make a decision that was obviously offside yesterday.
I've given you the answer that I believe is the reason.
It is what it is.
That is the reason I think it's happening. Simple as that.
The correct decision was made, so let's move on. Right, so what was the fallout from some of the articles from the game yesterday? Anything on there? Ralph, have anything to say?
Obviously, brilliant golf Danny Ings delivering the result. Hassan Hootle held fantastic Saints.
Okay.
So, it's saying Ralph Hasenhuttl held his side's performance after Southampton stunned top four chasing Tottenham with a 1-0 win, moving to 4 unbeaten in the Premier League and recording a third win in 4 matches. Digging in after the break, obviously kept Jose Mourinho's side out. Hasenhuttl said, "We're always hoping to see such a home game from our home side. Our side was absolutely fantastic, did a fantastic job today. Everybody was sharp, but everything on the pitch, that's the only way we want to play, and this is how our fans want us to play. The only chance to take something against such a team is if you work like this. It's the Premier League, you have to fight for every ball. Our behaviour against the ball was fantastic, created a few chances, so it wasn't undeserved that we won the game." Totally agree with that. Can't really argue with him on that one, can we?
The other thing that I want to know from the Mark Carter point of view, right, is how did Mark Carter view the incident with Jose Mourinho and our goalkeeper coach, who I believe's name is Andrew Sparks?
Yeah, I don't actually know what led up to this because I'm kind of watching it on the footage that I'm watching, and I'm seeing Mourinho go to the Saints bench, and I mean, what's he doing? He's going to have a word with somebody, isn't he? He then bends down right by the goalkeeping coach, who appears to be writing something in a tactics book or something. So it's like, what are you doing, Jose? Did you actually go over and say something to him, or were you actually trying to look at the tactics to figure out what was going on?
Yeah.
Either way, you should not have been approaching the Saints bench for any reason. That's quite clearly why you got a yellow card. You then covered yourself in glory afterwards by coming out saying, "Oh, well, I was rude and I deserved a yellow card, but I was rude to an idiot." Well, I hate to tell you this, Jose, that idiot was part of the team that beat you yesterday. So who's the idiot?
Well, was the idiot not the person who actually went across that?
Oh, there you go.
Well,
quite clearly, the idiot was the one trying to look at the Saints' tactics yesterday.
That was curious. but then he does come out with some classic stuff.
Absolutely.
Stuff on Jose.
The thing is, I thought actually, if anything, the fact that Jose went on about this or mentioned this yellow card, the fact his yellow card was brought up, completely got him away with the fact he didn't even have to talk about how poor Tottenham were.
Yeah.
He didn't have to say anything about his team's inadequacy because it was totally about the yellow card. No. So it totally took the focus off his team. He didn't even have to talk about how poor Tottenham were or their reasons for losing or whatever. Totally got away with it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like, he pulled a bit of a flanker there. He got a yellow card for what he deserved.
I do think that,
strange one.
As I highlighted, and I still say this, I do think from a Tottenham perspective, to bring some balance to it, I do think that they did miss Son yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, although to be fair, I don't think there was a Saints fan in the ground that was disappointed that Son had such a poor game for them yesterday.
No, this is very true.
Thought he had an awful game. Worst game I've ever seen in Tottenham shirt from Son. Awful. Didn't even get on the pitch.
But anyway, so we're gonna move on to team of the decade, mate.
We are. So this was obviously
team of the decade.
This was a
poll that was run by the Daily Echo, and it was actually asking Saints supporters for their Saints team of the decade, and I believe that there was 27,000 or 21,000. It was over 20,000 people actually put their team in, and Mark is now going to reveal the results to us live on air. So
yeah, the chosen 11.
Basically, we have an 11 and we have a manager as well.
Right, so it says the chosen 11 includes 5 players who were part of the club's journey from League One to the Premier League under Nigel Atkins. Mauricio Pochettino obviously picked Ronald Koeman to the fans' manager of the decade vote for what he achieved in his 14 months at St Mary's. Not sure I agree with that one. He was only here 14 months. I would argue there were probably far better candidates who probably deserved to be manager of the decade. Nigel Atkins is definitely a strong contender for me, Mark.
I would go with Ronald Koeman.
So anyway, it's all about opinions. But the following 11 was selected in a 4-2-3-1 lineup, which was the club's formation for much of the decade. So goalkeeper Calvin Davis. I'm not sure I agree with that one either, to be fair.
No, but just go.
Yep, so anyway, Calvin Davis, goalkeeper. Right back, Nathaniel Klein.
Yeah.
Centre backs, Virgil van Dijk and Jose Font. Left back, Ryan Bertrand. Defensive midfielders, Victor Wanyama and Morgan Schneiderlin. Attacking midfielders, Sadio Mane and Dusan Tadic and Adam Lallana. Striker, Ricky Lambert. Manager, Mauricio Pochettino.
See, and there's a couple of subtle differences I would make.
Yep.
I wouldn't have it that rigid a formation.
No.
I would have played a 4. Well, basically, obviously the goalkeeper, but a 4-2-2-2, right? And that would have basically been to accommodate. So you have 2 defensive midfielders. My 2 choices would have been Stephen Davis and Morgan Schneiderlin. I would have the same back 4. My goalkeeper would have been different. Fraser Forster would have been in there.
Yeah.
So you've got Morgan Schneiderlin and as I say, Stephen Davis. And then I would have had, obviously, the wingers of Mane and Tadic.
Yep.
And up front, and I can't believe, right, this is why the formation would have been different for me.
Yep.
Because you've got to accommodate, much as you've got to accommodate Ricky Lambert, legend he is.
Yep.
Right? You've got to accommodate, for the 2 seasons that he was here, Graziano Pella.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Outstanding striker.
Yeah, for anybody who underestimated Graziano's contribution to Saints when he was here, watch back his highlights when he was here. That's all I'm going to say.
Unbelievable player.
I saw one of his greatest goals yesterday, actually. You remember the QPR game at St Mary's?
The support play from him, it wasn't even just the goals he scored.
No.
It was his all-round support play.
Yep.
You were him, you were playing in the team.
Well, let's point out as well.
One of the things that I didn't like, though, that he used to do was he would always dig out the younger members in the team, but then I think part of that was to get them galvanised and motivated Mark,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is, Graziano, other than Ricky Lambert, he was another guy that was a really good target man as well.
Yeah.
Not only did he contribute goals like Ricky did, he was also quite good at holding play up. He was quite a good link man, quite a good target man, and we've not had that for a while, have we? So, I think Graziano was very much unappreciated when he was here. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he ends up, considering they've apparently put a wage cap on in China now, haven't they? Yeah, so it seems that all these players that have gone to China are probably going to be coming back. 49,000 a week, yeah, you're not going to earn any much, are you? Guess what? Saints pay more than that. Their average is 50,000 a week, people. Just remember that.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
But anyway, we've obviously got a cup game coming up, quite an important one, Mark.
And the good news, listeners, is we're going to both be there together in unison. I'm not going to get a word in Wedgeways on Saturday, you watch. Anyway, go on, Mark. So, how do you see it? I mean, I think it's a good test for us. It is a good test. All right, it's a championship side.
Yep.
Recently demoted from the Premier League.
Yep.
They've got new incumbents there, the Crowley brothers.
Yep.
Dan and I'm trying to think who the main one is, and I can't think of his name. But what I was going to say was they've gone there. They went there middle of September.
Yeah.
Interesting thing with Huddersfield. Obviously, they offloaded a lot of players.
Yeah, definitely.
In the summer after their demotion, but they brought in the likes of Fraser Campbell, and these were all brought in on a free. Danny Simpson, who was obviously the left back when Leicester won the Premier League.
Yeah.
And it's I think at the end of the day for them, it's probably about solidifying, because they were on a bit of a slide anyway before the Crowley brothers came in there.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can consolidate their position. But coming into the FA Cup, you know they're going to be giving it
100%.
Crowley brothers
Yep.
because of what they did at
What worries me a little bit is-
stuff like that. They're obviously going to be giving it a good go.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to be on our mettle. So I
Yep.
do think it's a good tie. It's a shame for me that the whole of the stadium's not open. I
Yeah.
don't know how the demand of tickets has been.
Don't know.
But I was hoping with the fact that them being a tenner, 12 quid on the day, I was hoping that that would attract more of a crowd. I mean, third round day of the FA Cup has always been one of my favourite dates in the calendar.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
I've always gone to a third round game,
Yeah.
whether I've been in Southampton
Yeah, I mean,
at the time or not.
personally,
Yeah.
I'd love to see Saints have a cup run. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a cup run. My concern is, I've seen people on social media saying, "Oh, our second string should beat them." I think that's very dangerous talk. I don't think we should be putting the second string out.
Yeah.
And I sort of agree with Dave Merrington on Radio Salem when he says things along the lines of, you want to be playing your strongest team whenever you can. You want to try and win these cup games.
Yeah.
This is a really good route into Europe and stuff like that. I think we should give it a real go. The concern is, the bread and butter is the Premier League. Excuse me. The bread and butter is the Premier League, 100%. That pays the wages, that keeps us afloat. We need to stay in the Premier League. Nobody's debating that. But let's not go out and put a real weak inside out. Let's have a right good go at it and see if we can make some progress.
I think the thing
Everyone
is-
worries about injuries and stuff, but you've got as much chance of players getting injured in a cup game as you have in a league game. Let's not play a second string. Let's put a strong team out and try and get a result.
All I would say about that is it's about a winning mentality for me. We're in the middle of a good run of games. We've had some great results the last few games. You want to keep that going, right? Because it's all about positive mental attitude. You want to keep that going with the group of players. I can understand that you might have one or two changes, you know, maybe a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're gonna do that, and you know, okay, little bit of a mix and match team, but make sure that your spine is of your mainstay players.
Absolutely.
But I agree with you. I think it's dangerous talk. I mean, it's disrespectful as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you got to treat everybody on
Yep.
their merits, and the thing is like the turn around and say, "Oh, put a second string out."
The thing is, Mark,
should be able to
I've
take
looked back
care
at
of
Saints
business.
teams. I've looked back at Saints teams over the years and over the decades, etc. At what point did we all decide? Do you know what? We're not going to put our strongest team out anymore. I remember being brought up with a Saints team that put their strongest team out every FA Cup game, no matter who the opposition was.
It's not even Saints, is it? It's disrespectful to the FA Cup.
When did it start happening?
FA
When did we
Cup's a
decide as a
tradition,
club?
mate.
I mean, other teams, that's up to them. When did we decide as a club? Do you know what? We're not going to put our strongest team out anymore. I was brought up in an era where Saints constantly put out their strongest team in FA Cup games. Every single game without
Saturday
fail.
or every couple of days.
Why have we changed that? Why have we changed that philosophy? When did that philosophy fundamentally change at the club?
I just think it's down to the money.
I think
Down to the prize
it is-
money. There's more prize
Yeah,
money in the
it is-
Premier League than there is in the FA Cup.
It is disrespectful and it is
Mark,
sad.
Having said that, right, let's remember one thing, right? When people are saying, put the second string out, we should be able to deal with them. Last season against Derby,
Yep.
you know, we did a little bit of that last season.
Yeah, can I also...
And Ralph did say, right, and this is going back from last season, he turned around and he said, I don't want a situation again where we're out of an FA Cup where we've got 3 weeks where we're sat on our backs doing nothing.
Not only that, for everybody saying play our second string, have you watched the under-23s this season, people? They're not setting the world alight.
No.
They're not exactly playing well. They're not exactly doing brilliantly. They've been struggling. I'm not sure our second string is strong enough to beat Huddersfield, no offence.
I wouldn't bring any of them into the first team squad at the minute.
Well, then my point is, Mark, if they're good enough, where are they?
Well, this is it. But look, the other thing I was just going back to the FA Cup game, right? I mean, you know, Ralph had said, as I say, you know, let's not have a situation again like this season where we've been dumped out of the FA Cup in the third round. He said, because at the end of the day, I'd much rather have the players playing games and being involved in these competitions than not.
Absolutely.
So just remember that, Ralph, for Saturday when you said that last season after we've been dumped out by Derby.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I've got to mention as well is I want to see us get into the fifth round,
definitely.
right? Because the fourth round, right? If you don't get into the fifth round, you're going to have you could have another 3-week period, because don't forget, there's the mid-season winter break in February.
There is, absolutely.
So you definitely want to get past the third and fourth round and get in the fifth round so that you're not sat on your backside for 3 weeks.
That's it for today, everyone. We're out of time today, unfortunately. Well done, Mark. Great show today. Got through loads of stuff today. Just a quick reminder to everyone, remember to get your votes in for the Greatest Saints Team Centre-Backs poll that we're running. We've told you how to get in contact with us about that, so make sure you get your votes in, please. So it's goodbye from me.
Yeah, and it's goodbye from him. Goodbye, everybody. And thanks for listening, and a Happy New Year to you all.
Yep, Happy New Year, and we'll see you on the other side.